What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So you're seeing a stack of books here, and you know what this means. It's Techo Kaigi season. I'm so excited to share with you this mid-year planner review, and I've got all of the notebooks that I'm using this year, and I've got the stack of planners and journals that I've been using so far from January to June. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So let's get started with the 2025 original lineup first. Nothing has changed. I'm really very happy to say that ever since the year started, I've been really consistent with using my original lineup. I haven't been having the urge to switch so far, and I hope that it stays that way because I know that in the second half of the year, it's gonna be planner sneaks, planner and journal sign-ups and pre-orders and stuff. So the urge is gonna be there for sure to try out new things. But so far, I feel that I'm very comfortable, I'm very secure in what I have right now. So I'm just gonna update you guys with how things are working in my original stack. So let's start it off first with the one at the top. This is my Hobonichi Weeks, and I use it as my health planner. And so far, up until today, I've been really very consistent in logging everything that has to do with my health. And I credit that consistency because I have a very clear intention on what I want to track and what I want to monitor for my health. Very quickly, I'm just going to breeze through the pages because I've talked about this planner several times already. So the yearly overview, I use it as my step count tracker. I am going to be filling up the June column, and I have all of the information logged in my monthly, so it's not a problem to backtrack and like color code all of the steps that I had. I have a key here that tells me what color to use if I've accomplished X number of steps in that day. And I'm really very happy to look at the progress of my daily step count tracker. It has been on an upward trajectory, meaning I have been really working very well in keeping up movement. As I mentioned, I use the weeklies as a log of my weight, number of steps, the sleep score that I have. All of these information are being tracked by my smartwatch. So there's always a log of everything that I do movement-wise and sleep-wise on my smartwatch and on the app on my phone that's connected to my smartwatch. And I also use the monthlies to do logs of doctor appointments, and I also log my husband's blood pressure numbers. So that is how the monthlies are being used, and very consistently, I'm really happy that I always keep a log of all of this information. It helps me track the progress of my year-end goal to reach a certain weight level by the end of the year. So that is that, and here we are in June. Everything looks really well lived, and I'm really happy about it. Color coded everything to make sure if I'm on track of something or if I'm not. In the weeklies, this is where I do food logging. And I have started doing this at the start of this Hobonichi Weeks, which is in the last week of November. So I write all of the food that I eat. I also monitor the medications that I take, some body-related symptoms, whether it's pain or anything else. I also log my emotional situation on this last column. So all of this is consistently being filled out on a daily basis. So you can see everything. All of the weeklies are filled up. I also sometimes highlight certain symptoms, some emotional or mental health related symptoms that I experience so that I can keep track of things and discover certain patterns that are happening and do something about it. So it's not just logging, it's also trying to understand the trends. So that's everything with the weekly section. With regards to the notes section, I do use this for all of my trackers. And this is like a health related summary of what I need to be mindful of and keep track of the entire year. So these are what my trackers look like. I wanted to mention again that I borrowed this tracker from Danielle from my Dandelion Diaries. This is like another iteration of the food log that I have in the weeklies, but it's more of like a chart format so that I can see on a monthly basis what I have eaten or the quality of food that I've eaten. I also keep track of my sleep, mood, and pain here. And initially, at the first few months of the year, I was keeping a self-care bingo log. And at the end of every month, I do a reflection or an analysis of my health, physical and mental well-being at the end of the month. I keep track of it here. Over the months, I have done away with the self-care bingo. I'm not sure why I did that, but I did. So I just keep the health summary at the end of every month. So whenever a new month starts at the last day of the previous month, I will do this health summary to like summarize what happened throughout the month, physical and mental health wise. So that is how I've been doing or using these pages. And at the back pages, I do use the 365 days checkoff sheet. I use this to keep track of the days where I feel the mood is at a 10 out of 10. So these are the days that has happened. Not a lot, but it is there. And in the My 100 section, I keep a log of what are the things that made me happy. So it would be nice to take a look at this by the end of the year. Just what are the things that made me happy? And I try to update this as much as I can. And I derive what's in this list based on this chart. So if I'm tracking my mood and there are some days that I rank the day as a 10 for mood, I will log it here in the 365 days checkoff that yes, it's a 10 out of 10 day. And I will review my daily logs. I will show you later my main planner and find out what exactly about that day that made it a 10 out of 10. I will include that reason here in my 100 list. So everything is like weaved together to make sense of all of these things that I'm tracking about. And I love it that way. So I feel like I'm not tracking things just because, and I'm really doing some conscious effort to make sense of the stuff that I'm tracking. And this is my main planner. This is an owl paper planner journal. And this is a 2-book system, January to June. But basically, I have stopped using the blank notes pages by the end of May because these are the remaining pages in this planner journal. It's not going to be enough for June. I want to have all of my daily logs for every month in one book. So I moved out of this planner journal to this B6 booklet and only the daily logs. I still use this planner journal to keep a log of my monthlies. How I use this front matter is the index. I also have a goal setting here. I have my yearly overview where I keep track of important deadlines at work and also some personal related things. In the monthlies, I use this as a 1 line a day that is also very reminiscent of the bullet journal method. I don't really use this for appointments and stuff. I use the yearly overview to keep track of important dates and events. And in every after monthly page of this planner journal, there is a blank grid paper that I use to also do a monthly reflection of all of the things that happened in the previous month. I changed it this time around to milestones, setbacks, what to improve, and what are the lessons learned. And the right side I use for next month related stuff, which are some goals that I need to hit by that month and important tasks and important notes. So left side is the previous month, right side is the upcoming month. So that's how I've been using the monthly section. With regards to the weeklies, it has also been going great. I just did a collage here, but basically the weeklies, I still use as a log of my horoscope here, my horoscope, my daily tarot card pulls, and some habit tracking that I use or like keep track of in my health planner. And I also log some of my earworm songs, or like the songs that are playing in my head the first thing that I wake up in the morning. So it's a weird habit that I have, but it's there. I keep track of it. So it has been going well. I'm really very consistent using the weeklies this way, and I find that it's very effective. I also synthesize my horoscope and tarot related information to make better sense of the stuff that I'm putting here, because I don't want to keep track of things that I'm not using, doesn't make sense to use in my life. So as much as possible, whatever I put in my planner, I try to make sense. So just a quick flip through of the weeklies. It has been going like this, and I really love it. I use fountain pen inks and my fountain pens in this planner journal, and I'm really happy that the 2025 Owl Paper Planner Journal, even if it's a Sans and TRP, the paper quality is superb. It's like the OG Tomoegawa paper, because I have not experienced any of the issues with the current Sanzen paper that most of the planner people have been experiencing so far this year. So I'm really lucky, and I'm very happy that I picked this planner journal for this year. So there you have it. This is the week, so I have yet to finish. And here in the notes pages, I keep a collection. I have a reading log, media tracker, wish list, when did I last, etc. But since I'm gonna be moving in July to the second half of this book, I will be dropping some of the collections because I haven't really gone back and used these collections. So I realized that these things aren't really serving me at this point in my life. So I'm going to be dropping some of these. I'm going to probably keep the wish list. And that's pretty much it. The rest I can keep track of digitally, and it's not going to be an issue. But with the rest of the notes pages, this is where I do my daily logging. So if you are familiar, or if you have seen some of the bullet journal spreads that I do on this notebook or in this planner journal, or basically the way I plan on a daily basis is Bujo style, the original Bujo. And I use a dashboard system at the top, and I do the daily logs at the bottom. This system helps me a great deal in identifying my wins of the day, the gratitude, and the story of the day. So I don't have to go through all of the stuff that I've written here. I will just look at the dashboard to get a glimpse of what happened in the day, because I use some of the information here at the dashboard for gratitude. Later on, I will show you where I also keep a gratitude log in my creative journal as well. All of the things happening beneath the dashboard are related to tasks, related to notes, emotions, feelings, and everything else that I want to log or micro journal every day. So I do a 1 page a day spread here, and I also do a weekly reflection. It's always important for me to reflect on what happened in the week so that I can approach the new week with a renewed sense of perspective. I use an Alistair weekly task system here so that I can dump all of the tasks that I need to do for that week and assign the days when I feel like I need to do them or when the deadline is for that task. So it's very important. This system is really very important for me because info dumping all of the tasks that I need to do for the week helps my mind to breathe and not ruminate and worry and be anxious about what needs to be done. So this is really very therapeutic for me. And then we go through the daily logs the same way again. So earlier in January, I was doing some tarot readings here as well. So I think that's the reason why I used up a lot of pages at the beginning of the year. But I moved that information to another notebook, which I will show you later on. But basically, this is how I've been using the notes pages of this planner journal, and I'm very happy to see that I've really been consistent with this kind of method, and I found that it's working really well, and I have no reason to change the system that really works for me, and give or take a few changes. So what I did very recently was I just found out that what I was doing was kind of like interstitial journaling. Very recently, that discovery, like it's like a today I learned I was actually doing interstitial journaling. So this is what I mean. I have been logging the time that I did something so that I know when I actually spent the time that I had that day. So it gives me a perspective, like how often do I change tasks in a given day, because I have like this list of stuff that I need to do, right, for work, for example. So all of these are related to work, and I will spread them out in the days, in the week, and do them accordingly. But sometimes in a given day, I would start on something and then work on another task, something of that nature, right? So it's not the way that I do things at work. It's not very linear, like start on a task and finish it and then move on to the other task. Sometimes when I get stuck on one task, I will start another, so that, it's just the way my mind works. So I keep a log of that time that I have been doing certain things, so that I know where I spend my time. And I also log some emotions or feelings and some events on the daily log as well. So that's basically the main thing that I've changed up in my daily logs, including the timestamps of when I did all of these specific tasks and what have you. And I've really been enjoying this change in my Bujo system, and I love the fact that I can change the layout. I can change how I do my daily logs as needed. And that's why I really love the bullet journal system, because it changes whenever your life changes. So I really wish the same for other people as well, but I understand that the Bujo may not be for everyone. It really depends on how you perceive life and how you make sense out of it. But this is basically how it has been working for me so far. So as I mentioned, I ended this on May 31st, and I moved my daily logs into this B6 booklet. This is an Pilot Il notebook. I know that it was sold as a set with some of the Il gel pens, but my local stationery store just sold this booklet separately, which I really love. And so far, I have been using these pages already halfway through the booklet, and we're approaching the end of June, which is, wow, really, I never really thought that I would be getting through this notebook so fast. But that is because I mostly do one page a day, and I still do the time logging that you're seeing here. My Alistair method is here, but the weeklies I still keep here in my main planner, this one. But this is not related to work or anything. These are just some mental health related things or hobby related things, because it includes my tarot practice and to a certain extent horoscope. These are just hobbies that I'm really interested in. This doesn't have anything to do with my work or planning and what have you. So it's okay for me to move to this separate booklet for my daily log. What I do here, I still use my fountain pens and inks, and the paper really holds up well because it's not Tomoe River. And I was really happy that even if the pages are a little thicker than TRP, my fountain pen inks are doing so well. There's a little bit of feathering, but I guess it depends on the nib size and the wetness of the ink, but it's not a deal breaker for me. So that's how I've been using this booklet so far. Still doing the same system that I used to do here in this planner journal. So I am really very proud of myself for keeping this up to date. But yeah, because I log everything here, even on weekends, even when I don't have work, I always log things. And I always do my reflections. Next is my main journal. This is a random Kokuyo notebook. Let me just take it out of the cover. So this is a Kokuyo notebook. I forgot what it is because I covered it up with stickers, but this is just my journal. Let me just do a quick flip of it. It's actually 100 GSM. type of paper. It works really well on fountain pens. And this is where I dump every thought, every emotion, feeling whatsoever. I found myself not journaling every day as I used to before, and that's fine. It's because I'm doing a lot of things actually when I get home from work. And later on, I will show you because I have some notebooks and journals dedicated to those things. But it's okay if I don't journal every day, but I'm trying to get back into a regular cadence of journaling because I do still enjoy this a lot. I still find this very therapeutic, not a chore at all. But on days when I feel tired, I will not come here. It's not an obligation to do that. I mean, that is my thinking about this. I will be here when I need to, and it's always been here when I need it to be here. And that's what I'm really happy about. Having a journal like this to be ready whenever I am to come back to, and because it's just a notebook, no pressure at all to fill this up. So just quickly flipping through all of these. And I love decorating this because it's also a place for me to be creative, use up my journaling supplies. And this is how it's been looking like. I really love this. And I have started like using the pages for whatever I want because before I was just writing things, right? And I'm like, what am I doing? This is a journal. This is for me. I can do whatever I want. I can collage. I can play with inks, whatever. And that is what I've been doing so far. I mean, for some of these spreads, but majority, it's still like a place for me to write stuff. And here it's just practicing other things and like doing collages and stuff. I really enjoy having this space for me to do just that. So I still have a ways to go to fill up this notebook. It's really serving its purpose and I'm really happy about it. So it's gonna stay in my system because it's been really very helpful for me so far. Lastly, in my original 2025 lineup, I have my Hours research journal that I use as my creative space, my creative journal. So I do not come to this journal every day. And that is fine because, as I mentioned, it's a creative space. So if I have the urge to play with my stationery, be creative, this is the place where I default come to, aside from my main journal. So these two are kind of both like a creative space, but this is basically really just creative stuff. So just very quickly, I also did like a rundown of this planner at the beginning of the year and also on Q1, like how does it look like decorated is. So the monthlies I use as my gratitude journal, or yeah, daily gratitude. So if you remember, in my main planner, I do have a space in the dashboard line for gratitude. So this is where I put them. So I don't come here every day. So if there is a need for me to backtrack, it's very easy for me to find that information in my main planner. So yeah, this is the gratitude space that I use the monthlies for, and it's really working well because again, I'm able to use up my fountain pen inks, use my pens, and also to a certain degree practice my handwriting and just try to dabble with creative things in this journal. So I just finished updating my June gratitude. I still have a couple more days till the end of June. But that's how I've been using the monthlies. With regards to the weeklies, I did share before that this is basically the heart of the creative system that I am talking about, with this being my creative journal. So I use all of my stationery, stickers, washi, stamps, fountain pen inks, everything is here. I love just being random in decorating things. And I love that I'm trying to be able to come with a specific theme for one spread, and just randomly dumping anything and everything I could get my hands on. So I love flipping over this section of my creative journal because it just gives me warm, fuzzy feelings whenever I look at all of these creative things that I stuck on this journal and seeing the handwriting, the designs that I have put together, whether they are totally coherent or not, or completely random. But I do love how it's looking so far. It's really cute. So what I do is just, the first thing that I do is just dump whatever stationary item that I have. And then as an afterthought, fill in the spaces with text. Usually I would write some Italian lyrics or Italian quotations in something of that nature. And now I did some designs here, and I have yet to write certain things at the bottom or on the spaces here at the bottom of each box. But I do love this playground that I have. It helps me to de-stress. It helps me to look at the fun things, or like use up my stationery for the most part, and like come up with fun themes and what have you. So yeah, that's how I've been using this weekly section. So far I have yet to be updated with the other weeks because I'm not sure. I think we're on week 26 already. But again, there is no pressure. This is really what I've tried to tell myself. This is a dated planner, sure, but you're not obligated to come here on a daily basis and fill up, or even on a weekly basis. Just go here whenever you feel like it. So I feel like even if I don't fill up this book for 2025, I'm gonna be fine with it because my intention here is really very clear. And since I've been straight with myself on how I want to use this journal, I have no anxiety, no regrets, or no guilt not being here every day. So that is that. And this free section, all the other sections I haven't yet filled up, but I do have been really enjoying myself in filling up this section with, this is the card folder. So whenever there's something memorable that I go to with, even with just myself or with my husband, I will get their business card and put it here in my journal and just write a small snippet about what I did on this specific location, decorate and stuff. So it's like also a memory keeper of sorts, but it's very specific to a place that I went to. So far that's how I've been using this. It's really cute. It's really fun. This part, I haven't used this. It's fine. Again, no pressure to use this journal and use up all of the sections. I will use it whenever I need to. And now we come to this stack of planners that I have recently added. Some of them I've already talked about in my Q1 Techo Kaigi, but I just wanted to show you how's it been going so far. So this is an A6 take a note that I use as an ink journal. So basically the way this works is that whenever I ink a pen, I will go to this notebook and just do a writing test or a writing sample. So I will link the Q1 Techo Kaigi video if you haven't seen it yet. But basically, I use this planner as a log or a notebook. I don't really refer to the dates here, but I use the structure of this planner as a log or an index of all of the pens that I've inked so far. So for example, in this yearly overview, I use it as an index to log what ink that I've used on this specific portion of the planner. With regards to the monthly, this is how I use it as a swatch of the ink with using the pen. So some of the inks here will repeat. Some of them are new. So if ever I acquire a new ink and I put it in a pen, I will log it here. With regards to the weeklies, as I mentioned, I use this as a writing sample to experience how the ink performs on the pen that I've inked it up with, and also to practice my handwriting. So I really love how this looks like. I also decorate it a little bit, but it's mostly really just a writing sample space for me. So just logging the inks that I have used so far. So I think I will be using this notebook for a very long time because as you can see, I haven't been able to finish January. I'm almost finished with the January portion of this planner and we're already in June. So I don't think I'll be finishing this year, and that's fine because as I mentioned, this is just a notebook. The way I approach this is just a notebook to log my ink experience, and that's how I use this take a note. The next Here is this old Midori 2019 planner that I use as another notebook. So I mentioned this previously. It's a 2019 one. So again, as a planner, I don't really use this as a planner. I use this as a notebook for my language learning. So I am learning Italian this year. And one thing that I'm really happy that I finally figured out what to use is this yearly overview section that I use as a study tracker. So whenever I study for a given day, I will mark or like highlight the day that I studied. So I only started doing this in June. I started my language learning in March, but since I don't have the data to go back to and log the days that I studied, I'm just starting with this tracker this month. But that's okay. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm really very proud of myself for studying at a very normal or a regular cadence. And I have a notebook to show you how I've been doing that. So again, I really haven't figured out how to use this monthlies, and it's fine. I guess I will eventually find a way to use this later on. But if not, it's also okay. Maybe I can use it to doodle or like vocabulary and stuff like that. But basically, the weeklies I use as a regular notebook. So every time I have a lesson with my teacher every week, I would log our lessons here or like take notes of the lessons. And also with my self-studying, I use this notebook as well to take notes of what I've learned for the lesson that day. So that's how I've been using this as a notebook. And lastly, this is the latest addition to my stack. It's a Kokuyo Campus Study Planner. It's a 2-week planner. I recently found this in my local stationery store, and it has Kokuyo paper, which I really love. And this study planner is helping me a lot with developing a habit for daily studying for language because, as I mentioned, I only have a 1 hour a week session with my teacher. So I really have to make an effort to study every day if I really want to acquire this language. So it really has to be very conscientious to study, a conscientious effort of studying. So how I've been using it so far, so I've been using just pencil because I tend to make a lot of mistakes when scheduling or logging in my study notes here. So I thought just pencil will be great so that I can easily erase it and the notebook will not look too messy. So how I use this is really very easily. I translated this sample that they have here. I set out the title of what I'm studying for this 2 weeks. So basically the left side is 1 week, the right side of the page is week 2. And I set out the goal to achieve for these 2 weeks. I write the dates of my study schedule. And there's also here a portion to log the time. So I just use a stopwatch to log how long I've been studying. And I also come up with a study plan that I list down here that I pre-plan at the beginning of the week so that I know what to study for that week. And I try to align this study plan with what I take up with my Italian teacher so that I'm able to practice what we discuss every week. And sometimes I also vary it up a little bit with some YouTube videos and very recently some reading short stories kind of thing. So how I use it is that I have a plan that I list down here and I have 2 weeks to do it. So I try to pace myself. I try not to do everything all at once. All of the stuff that I've scheduled here is meant to be spread out for the entire 2 weeks so that it's not too heavy for me because I also have a full-time job. I mean, using spare time to incorporate language learning here. So I try to spread it out throughout the entire 2 weeks. As you can see, it's not very intensive because I try to integrate language learning in daily life. So whenever I finish any of these things in a given day, I would mark it with the star to indicate that I have done it. So this particular lesson is accomplished already. So sometimes, for example, this lesson that I need to learn. I accomplished it in the second week. So, it's not very intensive. It's not very pressure. It's not too much of a pressure for me to do. And I want to keep it that way because I don't want to discourage myself in learning this language. So coming into the new week, this is my lesson plan for myself. So far I have been doing some daily short story reading. I've also done some YouTube lessons and I have finished some grammar book related lessons. I'm really proud of myself, and I realized that I probably need to allot certain portions here wherein it's free so that I can go back to previous lessons and review my notes, because I also want to count that as stuff that I've studied, because all of these things that I have plotted for myself are like forward kind of lessons. I need to devote certain sections wherein I give myself the opportunity to re-review what I have learned so that I don't lose those lessons that I learned. Yeah, that's just a realization for me moving forward. But so far, I'm really enjoying using this notebook. There you have it, folks. All of the planners and journals that I've been using so far until today. And I'm really very happy that I've stayed consistent. One of the key lessons that I've learned in this journey so far is to be content and to try things out for myself before being influenced very quickly at the next big trend, and to really set out intentions for how I want to use things so that I have a clear purpose and there is something deeply attached to something that I use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis or on a sporadic basis. I'm really happy. I'm very proud of what I've accomplished so far, and I foresee myself still using this stack. Hopefully I don't add anything else, because the more you add things, the more it becomes of a chore. And as planner people, we don't want these things to become a chore for us or an obligation. So far, I have not felt that in any of my books so far, because as I mentioned, some of these are dated books, but I use them as the need arises. When there is a moment of time for me to be creative or to be introspective, then I will be in a certain book. And that's just how I like it, and has been working well so far. And I am interested to know, how has your planner journey so far? If you are into planners and journals, has your system changed? Has it stayed the same? What are your realizations and lessons learned? I'm always looking for those things in other videos that I watch, because I find that these videos, I can probably see some insights that I can apply to my own practice. So if you do have any thoughts on that, please feel free to share that in the comments. And as always, I'm really very thankful for your time spending to watch this video. If you have any questions, or if you are interested to see more content from me, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. And as always, I will see you in the next video.